Ta-da! Yeah, we went. This is Talking Bollocks, by the way. Anthony.
Me.
Obviously, Richard just waves his hands there, and John. Yeah, we did a bit of a road trip to Bolden Cinema.
Yeah, it wasn't much of a road trip.
I'm not going to mention the chain though.
It only takes about 20 minutes to drive there.
Yeah, but yeah, we went and watched the new Planet of the Year.
There was a picture on Instagram.
Yeah, we have
road
got a
trip.
picture on
And
Instagram.
Bailey stole Nipsey's car.
Which we could probably put on as part of the film, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so we watched the new Planet of the Apes, and this is literally what this episode is going to be about. So it's pretty much a review.
First reactions.
Talking bollocks.
Yeah. Blabbering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, first reactions, John.
As I said to you before, the film itself is good. It's well.
That's good, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I would say it's well written and on the whole. The acting is very good. I thought that was excellent. The CGI and animation is unbelievable. Probably the best that I've seen this year, by a long way. There were certain times where I thought that, yep, that scene was made for 3D, but you know, that's the sort of generation that we live in at the minute, so you've got to sort of accept that. We didn't see it in 3D.
No.
2D all the way.
2D all the way. The film itself was good, but on the whole, I didn't like it very much. I mean, I liked the film, but there were certain aspects of it that really, for me, let it down.
Let's get into that just
No.
yet.
Yeah, we'll pick apart it.
What was yours?
I really did like it, but I feel that the pacing was a little off. It seemed slow, and then it seemed to just rapidly get faster. It's a bit like the first one, really. Only I didn't know.
But it felt natural in the first
Yeah,
one.
like it didn't fit. It wasn't as bad with the first one because it was. I don't know. It just it was natural progression of things happening, blah blah blah, and then this has happened. Right now it's going to kick off. With this one, it was. I don't know. It just felt like it felt like more should have been happening earlier on, because like things seemed to be drawn out and then rushed and then it kicked off. And overall though, I did really like it. I liked how the characters have come on, the apes have come on from the last film.
Yeah.
What they've done.
The animation is noticeably different.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
it is good.
Well, it's probably the apes themselves, the more like the bigger, the more humanoid almost. But yeah, I did like it.
What about yourself?
Yourself? I really enjoyed it. Yeah, there is certain parts which I'll agree with you on, John, and with Richard as well. But overall, I thought it was a really good show. I think it pretty much stays true to the original. In the way, it's the virus that wipes out most of humankind and all that. But
Original as in
The original.
yeah, like the 80s,
70s.
70s version of it.
Well, 60 years.
So
60s then.
60s, 70s is around that period. But yeah, I mean,
The
like
original.
you said, the use of CGI, even though there is a lot, but it's just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
and I
it
normally
fits
hate
in,
films
yeah.
that have loads of CGI.
Do you know what I thought? Like, in terms of Avatar,
Mm.
you knew it was all going to be CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you knew it was going to be big budget, and they had to either do it really well or it was going to be
Yeah.
proper shit. With Planet of the Apes, you knew it was all going to be CGI, but I didn't even really notice it.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
even though the background, it's set on Earth,
Yeah.
and you think, right, they're going to have real set pieces and things like that. But I'm not sure.
I don't know, because
Yeah.
maybe they did. Maybe they did.
I'm not sure if they actually did, but you would have thought it would have been more jarring with something like Avatar, where it's just a completely fictional planet.
Yeah, well, yeah. I
Or
watched a
Star
little bit
Wars.
of the making of the new Planet of the Apes, and
I will say at this point, just before we go on, there will be spoilers.
possibly
Probably
could
lot of
be
them.
spoilers. Yeah,
Possibly.
yeah, no.
There are going to be spoilers.
Yeah, but the new technology where before you had to do everything in front of the green screen with the suit on,
Yeah.
but the people that play the apes. This time round, the technology has advanced enough where they can actually go on location with
Yeah.
the suits on
But
and film that way.
Some of it
And I
must
think
have
just
been
brings
CGI though, because the scenes that they had couldn't
Yeah,
have
it's
all
like
been.
Oh,
the
especially
home and things like that.
yeah, near the end.
Yeah.
in the tower.
But you didn't notice. I didn't notice.
Yeah.
I didn't notice any difference.
I even like the apes themselves. They just look so realistic.
But I mean,
and
look
the
at-
expressions and things
Look
like
at the way
that.
that like the computer game industry's come on. When you say like the testing for all that sort of stuff, Like, I mean, I know it was like old now, but L.A. Noire was like one of the first ones where they actually had full facial movement
Yeah.
in the actual game, and that can be seen in this film. I mean, the facial movement of the apes themselves is just incredible.
Yeah, I mean,
Really good.
But it's not just the apes, so it's the actors.
yeah,
That's another thing to be said.
Yeah,
this is more acting.
Yeah, it's not just not just motion capture with like a couple of dots on the face for general facial expression. They had a harness with a camera about this close to them, so their acting is what you see on the screen. It's replicated.
And
it's got rid of the sort of get out clause of CGI now, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a real actor.
Yeah.
It's good, yeah.
And the person actually plays Caesar, which technically knows the name of,
Andy Serkis
is the person that plays Gollum. He was the original Caesar. He also did King Kong. He was actually King Kong. Believe it or not.
Yes.
And
Because that was his first April.
Yeah, and he's done a lot of like method acting sort of say roles.
Very good.
But now this has come along with the CGI, like the way they can film it, and he said himself, it shows their talent as method actors.
Yeah,
and it really does come along.
In in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, he won an award Saturn Award for Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not a motion capture thing. It's not a stuntman. It's not a technical thing. It was an actor.
And I dare bet to go this far as well, when the next awards come round,
He'll be nominated.
He'll be nominated for that,
definitely. Yeah, I agree.
and possibly could win because
he
it's
could
really
do.
good role.
Yeah, I mean, for me in Lord of the Rings, I appreciate that Gollum was humanoid of some kind who then became something else, but I was very aware all the way through the film that it was a person being something else.
Yeah.
In Planet of the Apes, and at no point did I think this is a person being an ape.
You
Do you know what I mean? It is that involving that it is, it's awesome. Very good.
Yeah. So, apart from we've covered that, what do you think about the story in general, without trying to give too much away?
Well, I think the film feels like a big film, but I don't know how to say this. Like, the story isn't big.
Yeah.
It's a small plot.
Yeah.
In a
Tron, almost.
In a big, I don't know, like the plot doesn't fill the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's probably why it goes slow.
Yeah,
in some
and especially what I said when we came out, it's still got it's got in the title Planet of the Apes, and it's just still concentrated on the one city, San Francisco, and the area surrounding it.
Well, I dare bet it's only like 12 kilometres square.
Yeah.
In total.
Yeah, probably.
The whole
See,
distance.
that brings me to like my first gripe with the film, which is, I know you two feel the same, well, I think you do, in the sense that
I would feel the same, mate.
you've got a group of apes.
Don't do that, I'll pop.
You've got a group of apes who are in a forest setting.
Yeah.
Outside San Francisco, not far outside San Francisco, because they're travelling back and forth, and you can see the Golden Gate Bridge. And it's 10 years since the last film, which is when the epidemic occurred, which everybody knows about, so that's not really much of a spoiler. So it's 10 years, and at the beginning of the film you get this little scene where they're saying, oh well, do you think the humans are all gone? And they're like, oh well, I don't know. It's been 2 years since we've seen a human. Yeah, they must be all gone, sort of idea. And then there's a human there. That's cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
a human.
A human. I didn't have an issue with that. It had to occur at some point, and I think the scene that they did to introduce the two groups together was very good. I thought it was very good. I had a bit of an issue with one part of a little bit of the acting of that scene, but generally on the whole it was very good.
Yeah.
And it worked very well. It was a difficult scene to write. It was a difficult scene to act, and they did well with it. So yes, it's been 10 years, 2 years since they've seen any humans. They appear. Some humans are there. Oh, there's a bit of a consultation. Off they go, and some apes follow them, and they're like 500 yards down the road, over the bridge,
in the city, full of humans,
and it's not even subtle. It's not like, oh, there's a couple over there. It's like there's a city of people. There's thousands of people there.
We're living in the without trying to, in a confined area though, the humans, and at the beginning of the film it explains that only 1 in 500 people survive this plague, and this is
because of a natural immunity. You had an issue with that, didn't you?
Yeah, because literally there's about 2,000 people living in this place. Now, San Francisco has probably got a population of say about 2.5 million.
I don't know. Shall I look it up?
Look at it. Roughly say about 2.5
There's a lot
million.
anyway.
Yeah, so out of them 2.5 million people, if only 1 in 500, you can imagine there wouldn't be that many people. You know what I mean? And the law of averages isn't because it's not just like 500 people out of San Francisco.
Yeah, exactly. It's in the world.
It's like in the world, so you're looking at maybe there'll be like maybe 1 or 200 people maximum.
There is talk as well in the film about them trying to link up with other people who they kind of do and don't at the same time.
Yeah, it never happens. Like
never
on screen.
No, it never happens. But that's another thing like we were saying as well. You know, there's another group of people who they managed to make contact with eventually. How have they not found them by now?
Yeah.
This city's huge. It's not like a group of people in a house. Do you know what I mean?
No, but that's the thing. It's like, yeah, we contacted this other group of people from a military base just north of the city. It's like, just north. You'd have thought that you'd send a scout. Realistically speaking, you'd probably send more people for supplies in a zombie apocalypse and find other people than you would after this pandemic. You know what I mean?
They have no.
At least Django.
Do you know
there's a zombie.
You know, they have no real reason. Now I think about it, something else that's just occurred to me. They have no real reason to stay in the compound, because if it's a zombie apocalypse or post-apocalyptic or whatever, it's going to be dangerous to go out of your confines. But with the storyline that they've got, you know, it's like everything's gone, people have died, blah blah blah. There's no radiation, there's nothing like that. These people are genetically immune, so there's no danger for them to go out there, and they haven't seen any apes in fucking years. So what are they so scared about staying in this compound?
In fact, Gary Oldman's character has never seen an ape in his life.
Really? I didn't notice that.
He's never seen them. He's like, what are you involved? Apes. Apes can't talk, apes aren't this, apes aren't that. It's like, well, hang on a second, yeah, but then someone else goes, oh, they're the ones that want to.
What do you mean he's never seen an ape in his life? It's only 10 years since it happened.
Yeah, but I don't think he's from San Francisco originally.
You mean he hasn't seen one of the genetically mutated?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Because I was going to say, how has he gone through life in a normal world?
I see what you're saying,
but he hasn't seen.
I know what you're saying.
He hasn't. Since it happened.
Yeah. So if he's never ever seen those apes, it's like, so obviously he's not from there.
But, well, on top of that, if only a handful of people in the first film saw Caesar talk, and then,
which happens to be like majorly just all the police.
Yeah, because it happens during the fight, and like, you know, you hear him shouting no and things like that.
Yeah.
But very likely, all of those police in the battle died. And just by the end of the film, that's it. That's their human contact done with, because they've gone to their woods, and that's it. So there's only a few apes that can talk that we know of at this point. In fact, while I'm on the subject, oh no, never mind. No, I was going to say how like would these be the only intelligent apes? But no, if the thing spread through humans,
the whole world.
Yeah, if it spread through humans, then the apes are going to.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, it is, because at the start you can see the epidemic moving.
Yeah, but that's the.
I know it's the travel of the death of the humans. I understand that, but it's wherever they would be, they would come in contact with apes, wouldn't they? Yeah, it would only be places like Ethiopia and places like that where the.
But the thing is, so it does explain at the beginning how that was biologically designed. So it wouldn't affect the apes anyway.
It does.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it affects the apes because it's aerosol.
Yeah.
It gets transferred by air.
Because he redesigns it, because it's when in the first one.
The first one it gets injected to start with, which makes Caesar intelligent. No, it makes Caesar's mum intelligent.
Right, yeah.
She has a child, so he's genetically intelligent, and then he gets infected second time with aerosol.
But he tests the original one on his dad, and it works for a while. Then he starts fighting it.
His body produces antibodies.
So his Alzheimer's starts going back. That's why he develops a new one. And he gets permission to do the new one, where that is where it's just like, oh, we made it better, we made it stronger.
And they use it as an aerosol.
That's the aerosol one. And I think once they've done that, because Cobra was the first one that they actually gave to that, and I think because the only effect it has on apes is it makes them smarter.
Yeah.
It does the
intelligence.
So like, you know, I think
the way they kills people. Because it's an aerosol, so like one person gets accidentally infected because his mask comes off or whatever, and then he infects beyond, so it would work the same way with the apes. It wouldn't like
when they're all freeing them at the end of the first one, like brashing them out, they come into contact with them, that ape's going to get smart.
Yeah.
That's what I'm assuming.
That's the way I read it anyway.
Yeah, that's the way, like, you know, because it wouldn't have just been Caesar's little group and the ones in the lab.
Something else that's just occurred to me as well. You like something that you were basically sort of heading towards. You've got Gary Oldman and all his little cronies.
Yeah.
Who've not.
I didn't really like that character.
No, I don't think you're supposed to though.
No, but I don't mean in that way.
I didn't like the way it changed.
I mean in the way that he wasn't really convincing because he seemed he was a bit like
hesitant and anxious.
Yeah,
and
I'm the leader, and we've got to do what we've got to do. And it's like, right, well, we're going to kill all these. All right, so he's a nasty guy. And then you have that scene where he sees photos of his family, and he's all like, and it's like they're trying to make him seem like a good guy, and it's like, but he wasn't really anything.
That was sort of where I was going with what I was saying. Like, you've got the Gary Oldman character and X number of other people who have never seen the apes in their advanced form. So they don't, like, if you don't know an enemy exists, you don't look for it. Do you know what I mean? So you've got the apes. They've moved off to their like woodland city, which is fine. That's not a problem. You've got these people that for some reason are staying in this compound that we can't really work out why, but they're staying there because of group mentality or whatever. Fair enough. So they see some apes. The apes talk. It's a big revelation. Blah 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 blah. You kind of knew that was coming. They go back and tell Gary Oldman, and they say, right, well, we need something that's in the forest, which I'll not go into, but we need to get in there. What we'll do is we'll just go and kill all the apes. Why? Why does he immediately decide to do that?
He doesn't though. He turns out. The other guy goes, well, look at it. Give me 3 days.
No, but he didn't do that straight away because he said we'll go in and we'll kill them all, and the guy's like, no, give me 3 days first. His immediate reaction was we'll go in and kill them all and take what we need. But why are they being violent? Why are they suddenly like immensely scared of these apes who've decided they're going to talk when none of them have actually seen them be violent, none of them have seen them do anything? All they know is something's happened, which they don't know that it's the apes that have become intelligent, because if they've never seen them, how would they know?
Was that before they all come together?
That was before, yeah. Because they meet in the little altercation, he shoots one of them. They all have a bit of a ooh.
And then they go back.
And then they go back and they tell him.
He doesn't believe them. Then they all show up. And sees it.
No, they don't. It's even before that, because he tells them and he says, we need the whatever it is. And he says, right, okay, we'll just go and kill them all. Yeah. We'll just go and take it.
Well, and then they show up. Exits while they're talking about it. They show up, don't they?
And they say, fucking leave us alone.
Yeah, and that's even then, they've just said, like, we don't want to fight yet.
Or is this maybe like supposedly like a sort of subtle hint to a military mentality of the fact that he was an ex-marine of some sort or other, and that's how he solves his problems? But I didn't. If that was what it was meant to lead towards, I didn't get that. No. Do you know what I mean? It just
it was just like
shot a bloody gun.
It was just like massively heavy-handed way of delivering that story.
Yeah, there was like that was one of my big gripes. I mean, when we came out of the cinema. Like I said to you straight away, that was one of my major gripes. Why did he immediately go, we'll go and kill them all? When you think about it more than I thought about it then, there was absolutely no need to do it. They weren't violent towards the humans. It was the humans who shot them.
Yeah.
All they know is there's a group of monkeys and one of them talks. Why do you immediately have to go and kill them all? They pose at that point in the film, they pose no threat to anybody. We want to go and see this thing that we need. Why didn't they just go?
Yeah.
It just seems so forced. They
eventually do.
Yeah,
they just go in and talk to them. But yeah.
But like
that's another plot hole.
What's that?
When they first meet.
Yeah.
It's the first time they met them.
Yeah.
This thing that they wanted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that far away from where they are?
Yeah. How have they not seen
already
him
been there once before?
Yeah.
Because that's how it's there, and he's already been going. Yeah, we're gonna do this, do that, do the other. How have they not seen them?
Yeah.
If it's just next to where
it's not even as if they're like miles away from the compound. They're pretty much walking next door to it, aren't they? And it's like the other thing that I was saying to you before.
I mean, you see, COVID makes several trips backwards and forwards through the film. I'm just nipping over to the military base. I have a bit of a look.
Yeah. I mean,
back in 10 minutes.
Well, yeah, that's it. And I mean, like that was the other thing that we were saying. I mean, yeah, okay, they had in San Francisco they had nuclear power, which ran out apparently.
That's how it's like, the power ran out. I was sat there going,
ran out after 8 years or so.
Yeah.
It's only been 10 years. How? Anyway,
that's got like a duration of like something like 90 years, something stupid like that.
Whatever it is, and then they went on to diesel. Well, we ran out of diesel, but the city.
It's like we're running out of diesel.
But it's a city of how many? Did you find out?
I don't know.
Well, it could be.
There was a lot of figures. One of them said 800,000. One of them said 5 million. I don't know.
Well, it could be anywhere between 800,000 and 5 million. If you then took away say it was 500,000, if you then took away 495,000 people out of the power demand and you've got 5,000 left, which is probably more than they actually had, how long is that diesel going to last? It's going to last more than a year. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, so they then need to go off. But anyway, so they've had this power, it's run out. They've had some more power, it's running out. They need more power. So they've had power the entire time, which means they've had light and stuff happening. And then the monkeys who've got fire, which is, you see a pan and shot of the monkeys' village, which all of the fire, and then later on in the film you see a pan and shot of San Francisco with all the lights on.
You'd be able to see
that. That's something. Did they never have the lights on before that? Because they're like, oh right, now we've got the power going. Let's get on the radio. We never thought of doing that in the past 10 years. We're doing it now. Now that we've got the dam working, we're giving it a go. Oh, I've gone through someone. Fucking hell. They've never done that. Like
the nuclear power. Hello, Moscow. You're right, Joseph. Oh yeah, man. It's shit over right now, buddy. You got any monkeys over here? No, just Yetis. Oh, like that shit.
Yeah, nuclear power doesn't work. Radios apparently. Neither does diesel power. You need hydroelectric power. I've just come up with that there. Like, hang on.
That's like quite a huge kind of.
So they turn on the power, and within like 10 minutes they've made contact.
Within 10 minutes,
what have they been doing for the last 10 years exactly?
That's what I'm saying though. Just by wandering about, you
would.
Yeah.
People inevitably are going to be looking for other people.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought was when I can't remember his name. Who plays Joe Toy in Band of Brothers? He's the first human you see.
Yeah.
And he's on his own, just walking through the woods. I thought that's what it was.
Yeah,
I thought it was just wanderers, and I was like, oh, this could be interesting.
Yeah.
But then the whole thing with the city being
he plays, he's a character that you don't really like all the way through the film, and he plays a very good role.
Yeah.
So I've seen him in a likable character in Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
And he plays a non-likable character here, and he does it really well. I think.
But yeah, like
a dick.
Yeah.
Well then, with that reaction, he has played the role really well.
Yeah.
Because he's made you feel that.
Yeah.
So
Jack Gleason.
that brings us on to the acting overall, even with the method acting.
The acting's good.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I've got no issue with that at all. It's very
brilliant.
good.
I think going back to the whole thing about awards and nominations, I think Andy Serkis should get nominated for leading actor.
Yes.
Yeah, only other major role that I've seen him in is Lawless, and he was very good in that as well. But he was a sporting actor.
Oh no, that's that bloke.
Oh yeah, so you mean
the only other bloke who could be considered leading is him.
Yeah. He technically is the lead actor.
Yeah,
He's all the way through.
the main male lead character, which I can't remember his name. The guy in Lawless.
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember his name. He plays Malcolm anyway in this film.
Malcolm, yes. But yeah, I'd say Caesar is the lead over him.
Yeah, I would as well.
Like you say, because the apes, these are the ape characters from the last film, and that's what I was thinking at the end when they're saying the goodbyes and that. I was thinking.
It's good saying that.
I was thinking, these human characters, like this guy. He's not going to be in the next one. He's probably not going to be in the next one. It's the apes who are the main characters of the series, like the original ones. Like they're the ones who carry the story along. You've got Maurice, Caesar, Corbett, and Rocket, and all them.
Yeah,
they're the ones from that you remember.
You remember when we were in the cinema and I said, "Is the guy from the first one in this film?" And you were like, "No." And I thought, do you know what it is? That's sad that they haven't brought over the actor. But do you know what it is? I'm really glad they did.
But that's when a certain thing happens. I know it's like. We had a big gripe about why it would still be on and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not just that; it's the pictures as well, and it shows you
the
human and emotional side.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think it was
Caesar.
I think it was very brave of them to do that. Very brave of them not to bring more.
Because before we saw it, a few days ago, I was thinking, is the main character from the first one going to be in the second one? And then I thought, I hope he's not, because if it's such a powerful. Pandemic that's wiped out most of the population of the world.
What are the chances of him staying?
It just seemed a bit corny if he was in it, and it's like him and basically everyone who sees it new is dead, which is good. What could happen?
Yeah. I like that bit. I thought it was very well, very brave of them to write it that way, and it was very well done. It's a shame. Do you know what it is? It's a real shame because I enjoyed the film, but it was just. the plot holes and
You
the
just,
issues.
you just wanted to enjoy it more.
I just wanted it to be better because it comes back to the other thing that I've always said, especially with these kind of films, the Hollywood films, they don't seem to proof watch them. Do you know what I mean? If you had somebody who was critical of the film and said, "How mate, like sort that bit out, or do this, or do that," before they go into post production, do you know what I mean? It would be better, but you just never seem to get it. Like I don't know whether
Jason
it's just
Clarke.
me.
That's the main actor.
Like I say, I don't know whether it's just me being picky or whatever, but like I know when we came out, I was like, oh well, you know, there's a certain points that I didn't like because of a scientific role that I'm in, but it's a scientific film. Do you know what I mean? It's about evolution and it's about, you know, survival of the fittest and it's about, you know, mob mentality and it's about viruses and things. It is scientific. It's not a film about planes. Do you know what I mean? That would have no relevance to be scientific. Yeah. Do you know what I'm getting at by that?
Oh, speaking of planes, I was pissing myself during that trailer. The music on it was just hilarious. It was like something off South Park. But yeah, just thinking about being like critical, you know, and you need someone to be critical about it and proof watch it and that. I got, 5 minutes, 10 minutes into that, the 100 last night. And I was just like...
You like that?
I was like, turn this off, I can't watch anymore. I was just sat there.
No.
I was sat there, I was just... Nah.
You don't like that? You don't like that?
I was sat there.
I watched the entire season.
I watched the first 10 minutes and I was like, why are they sending them people? That makes no sense. Why haven't they checked this? If they've got... You know, if they've got a big fucking satellite orbiting the Earth that they live in, why don't they have satellite imagery to look at the fucking Earth?
Right.
We're getting off topic.
Yes, we'll try and...
Let's be critical.
But when you just said your satellite there, did anybody think about the astronauts that are on the International Space Station?
Oh, they're fucked, man.
They're long dead, like.
Oh, they're gone.
They've got to be long dead now, I'd say.
When we're talking about that 100
Planet of the Apes, because it'd be like, yeah, a big pandemic, like, is it down there? And look, oh shit, how the fuck never down.
There's other things as well. I mean, when I was talking
the
to
tank.
Don't even start on that.
Right.
They hijack a tank.
Yeah, there's a tank.
But I say there.
Going through. There's a big fight. There's a guy with an M60.
The fight was alright.
He's firing away, and there's a tank firing shells and blowing things up. There's 3 people that need to be in the tank. Gunner.
Yeah.
Machine gunner that sat on the top.
That you can see.
And the driver.
Yeah.
You'd probably have like 1 or 2 more crew, wouldn't you? I mean, you'd have.
The tank wasn't very big though.
Yeah, I was going to say for no one, you'd have like a commander, and you'd have.
The British Army, you do.
That'd be the machine gunner on top.
Yeah.
Then the old school tank, you'd have radio operator.
Yeah, fucking loader.
Gunner. You'd have the
like shell loader.
Do you know? I mean,
that was the gunner's rule basically.
So you've got this tank.
Yeah.
They hijack the guy on the top of the tank who was ex-military, seems incapable of actually hitting anything. It fucks me off.
Yeah,
why do they make things in films? They cannot hit anything. Don't put them in the film.
Yeah.
Stop it. So you've got that. The apes then hijack the tank and blah blah blah. And for some reason, it manages to just drive off on its own for no apparent reason, and then stop for no apparent reason.
Right where the ape wanted it to go.
But do you know what else has just occurred to me as well? You've got this guy in a tank. Which military official said, "Oh yeah, if we got that tank, we'd drive it straight into the middle of the war zone." When you've got all of your friendlies up on a wall that are trying to shoot down, or we've got an elevated position shooting down at the apes that are going up there as well.
Let's get into the street.
Why would you
California Street?
Why would you drive the tank into the middle of the battle? Why don't you just stay on the outskirts of the battle, which is what they do at the start?
Yeah.
Because they blow some shit up.
He's right,
right
on the flank.
Yeah,
He's on the flank side. Yeah,
and it turns on like where them shots coming
so
from.
We've got
this tank that's rolling in.
So we've got a tactical advantage by having people high up and a tank on the other side. But what we're going to do is we're going to drive the two things together into the middle of the war zone.
You know another thing that really annoyed me about that one scene as well?
The cavalry charge.
No, that annoyed me.
When he jumps through the fire and he doesn't get singed.
No, Clover when he's like, whoo, and they all climb up the poles. Mind, bearing, they've turned the fucking power back on and they're like, yay!
It doesn't work like that. I understand what you're saying, but the power there doesn't work like that.
Right?
No, because you have to have an arc. Because it's a positive and negative, and they weren't touching positive and negative, they weren't touching one.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I know how electricity works. It doesn't work like that. But I do understand what you're saying.
Electricity works. You turn the switch.
Yeah. It needs to have an earth of some. You either need a complete circuit or have an earth, and it didn't have either because they were just climbing on one place. But I understand what you're saying in that sort of context. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, because they were grounded.
Yeah, but I mean, there was another bit in that battle as well. So you've got this whole area which is under siege and battle and things like that. And then Gary Oldman decides he's going to up the stakes a little bit and shoot some barrels of whatever they are. They were probably red barrels, to be fair.
Yeah,
you know, all red
barrels explode when you shoot them.
So he blows up these barrels, which then creates a barrier of fire halfway across the war zone. I mean, A, no, because no. And secondly, I felt that was a bit half-assed, because you've then cut the fight scene in half. So you've only really got half as many people to concentrate on. So why did they do that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by that?
And another thing, I'm pretty sure what he uses is a surface-to-air missile launcher.
He uses a SAM, yeah.
Like a javelin or something?
No, it's not a javelin. He uses a SAM.
He uses a surface-to-air.
And he fires it down
into the barrels, and it's like, hang on a second.
They don't fire unless they're locked on, do they?
Yeah, they have to lock on.
Yeah, because it just went crosshairs.
Yeah.
That'll do.
And, I mean, I know, do you know what it is? It's Gary Oldman, he should know better. When they did the scene with he's got a fucking, I don't know what he had, like a saw or something with a telescopic sight on it, and he's got a pair of sunglasses on, and it's like, the camera's right up on his glasses, and he like pulls the scope and it touches his glasses,
yeah,
and
you
you
just
like,
see the scope there, and like we just like, in the cinema, like, oh,
he's gonna get a black eye.
I was like, black eye's gonna lose his eye, his glasses are gonna go through.
But he's like, he's got the scope touching his sunglasses, which are right up against his eye, and then, I mean, to be fair, he doesn't fire it, because all of the fucking, the apes come out firing their guns and stuff. But he should know better.
Yeah,
he should know better.
If you fired an air rifle or anything like that, and you've held it a way
but
bit
how
too
many,
close.
how many, well yeah, everybody
how many times
how many films
films
has he been in? You know, like, so that's a cinematic effect. People have told him to do that to get the effect, and it's, no, I don't like it.
Stupid.
It also seemed a bit stupid what he yelled out when they were like, alright, we're all looking down this street waiting for them coming, then we see them, they're coming down California Street. What, you mean this one street that we're all looking down?
There were no other streets, I hadn't thought of that.
There's like only one slit in front of our place, and it's looking down this one street, and that's the way they're coming from.
Just as they were coming out of like the smoke and the mist, and then he yelled that as the battle started, and I just started laughing.
Yeah, I heard you laughing.
I was like, where else would they be coming from?
You know, like, I know it's a cinematic effect and all that sort of stuff, and they've got saws, they had, what other weapons did they have? One of them had a rifle of some kind.
Yeah, like a couple of like M4s, I think.
Yeah, and there was a...
Sure, I've seen an M16 as well, at one point.
There was an M16, there was another one as well, I can't remember. There were lots of
M41 one carbine.
Yeah, they might have had a couple...
Oh,
what they called? M12?
LAM.
Just the machine gun, like with box magazine, because I'm sure Cobra had one of them in each hand when you got the horse.
But anyway, my point of that being, I know it's a cinematic effect, and I know they do it on lots of films, but they didn't need to do it on this. They're having this huge fucking battle, and there's Tracer going backwards and forwards all over the fucking place. None of them would have been firing Tracer. None of them.
No.
Because it's specially loaded.
Yeah, it's
like
you're putting a belt in, and like you're putting like
you put the Tracer in. It doesn't come as standard, because no army in their fucking right mind would send their troops out standard with Tracer, because they'd be like, oh, it's coming from over there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It doesn't happen. And, sorry, but like fucking big rant now, when they, we're going to go to the military stronghold that they left in San Francisco, and we're going to take all the weapons. Oh yeah, we've got the weapons, there's some guys around the back testing them. How many rounds do they have to fire per gun to test a rifle?
I was just about to say that.
Hundreds.
I was just about to say that. You don't ever switch gun.
They do, they switch it once.
I'm pretty sure when
they had two.
Cobra comes back again,
they're still using the same model.
They're still using the same guns.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know whether they've changed it, but they had two guns sat. But they were like, oh yeah, they're testing them around the corner. But they're firing them at a knackered Humvee for some reason, which is about 10 yards away.
It's full of bullets now.
It's full of holes, and they're like, right, okay, let's test this gun. You're supposed to be preparing for war. Don't waste your ammunition to start with. I know they've got a room full of it, but they're not sighting them, because firstly it's a medium range weapon, and they're firing at a fucking car that's 10 yards away, so they can't be sighting them. So they're therefore testing the barrel, so they need to fire it once.
They're therefore just fucking about.
That's all that they're there. And then not only are they fucking about, they get pissed while they're fucking about as well.
Do you think that's just going like a gun-toting American
audience? Yeah, I do.
But
it has no relevance to that bit.
Had a bit of a grievance with. You know how they're like, yeah, we've got these military warehouses, they're just in the open, yeah?
Yeah.
You see what was just sat right next to the military warehouses? It's like you want a safe place to go and put things and like hold up.
It was a strong.
You've got
goal,
a
like.
fucking battleship sat there.
I didn't say that.
It's the one out of Under Siege, the California. I think it's the California.
Really? I didn't say that at all.
It's a Nimitz class battleship. It's sat there.
So it's totally secure, is what you're saying?
Yeah, that battleship's like totally secure. You just batten down the hatches. It's like, yeah, why would we just go there?
I had that issue with the tank scene as well, because like there was a shot on top of the tank with the guy with the M60 who couldn't hit anything.
Yeah.
Even though they were like 5 yards away, which obviously they've trained for because we saw them in front of that fucking stupid Humvee. But then there was a shot from inside the tank of all of the fucking tracer coming different places and spears and shit like that. Well, think about it. If you're going to go into the middle of a war zone for no apparent reason, why would you be stood on?
Cling.
Exactly. Why would you be stood on top of the tank with this fucking gun when you've got a fucking, what was it, like an 80mm cannon on the front and tank tracks? You just drive round and round all flat. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't actually think it was actually tank. I don't think it was tracks. I think it was actually wheeled.
Yeah. Well, whatever. It was a tank. My point was, it was a tank. And yes, okay, the apes are intelligent, but they have no reason to understand the basis of a tank. They don't read books about tanks, so if they just shut the lid, they wouldn't have been able to do anything. But exactly. Do you know what I mean? It always comes back to me in these sorts of films, and I appreciate, we talked about something else that always comes back to me, but we'll skip over that. It comes back to me in this sort of film. There was a TV series on years ago that I watched, which was about the SAS when they first sort of uncovered what the SAS actually were, and they interviewed huge amounts of SAS under like black screen and all that sort of stuff. And they were talking about the British tactics about infiltration and being able to take out enemy targets and things like that. And they reckon that one SAS squad could take out a group of like 200 easily without losing any casualties. And then you get films like this, which I appreciate. They make the films the way they make them for an audience.
Yeah.
I have no issue with that. But we're in a state now where we've gone past the 90s Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone style films, which is, as you said, while we're in the film, a spray and pray sort of tactic. We're past that now. It doesn't happen anymore. The audiences are clever. They're not unintelligent audiences. Nobody thinks that they are.
I mean, even if you say the characters aren't trained, even people who are watching the film obviously aren't trained, and people are going to be saying, "Why are they firing from the hip?" I wouldn't do that. Yeah.
Absolutely, I agree entirely.
I mean, I used to do a lot of hunting when I was younger. I enough just air rifles and things like that. But
we're a bit higher caliber than. But you're right.
Well, I was in cadets as well. I fired most standard assault rifles.
The basis is the same, isn't it? Even if you've never fired a weapon before, you've got a minimum of 3 military background personnel in the film. You've got Gary Oldman and the 3 people in the tank. That's 4. Exactly. There's 4 people who, and I mean, don't get me wrong. This is no disrespect to the American Army because they're not shit. You know what I mean? The tactic that they use is different to the British Army.
It's just that the films make them look shit.
Exactly. The Americans can actually hit stuff. Do you know what I mean? They're trained to fire weapons, and the Special Forces, which is what Gary Oldman was supposed to be, are actually very good at doing that.
He was supposed to be a Marine, wasn't he?
He was, but he's not. In the film, he's gone from, I'm a Marine, here's my picture of all my Maras, who've obviously survived whatever war zone that they've gone into in quite a good way because they had the full tactical gear on. But now, because I'm in America fighting some apes, I can't hit shit. What's that all about? Do you know what I mean? Was he lost his skill? Does he need glasses now?
Well, yeah, he was wearing his
glasses.
But you know what my point is, though?
Yeah.
He wouldn't miss. Like that guy on the M60, I'm sorry, but he's got an ape going backwards and forwards on a horse in front of his tank. He's not going to miss. It'd be fucking impossible to miss. And he does. And it just annoys me.
Also, I noticed at one part near the end where Cobra had like a normal M14 and he had infinite ammo.
I didn't, yeah. Do you know what it is? I did notice that. Was that the bit on top of the tower?
Yes, where
okay, you 30 round clip and an M16, M4, 24 round clip, something like that.
Did I say M14? M4 I meant to say.
M4, one, isn't it?
But regardless, I mean, you don't have any more than 30 rounds and they go quick.
Yeah,
and
30 rounds.
I actually thought exactly the same thing at exactly the same point. At no point did any of them reload, and you know, I appreciate the apes have intelligence and they understand things and they can work stuff out, But if someone presented with a gun for the very first time, and not only like I didn't wait my point, there was an actual guy, a human who's seen guns before, couldn't load the weapon, and Gary Oldman had to go and help him with it.
Yeah.
Yet these apes that have never used the weapon before in their life are very proficient at using these guns, which, what, did the humans cock them all before they gave them to the apes? Do you know what I mean by that? And now, don't get me wrong, I thought it was a good film, and I know I'm being very picky about it.
You've got to be picky though.
But I do have to be picky because we're now at a point where audiences expect intelligent films. How much money do you spend on going to cinema? I know it's like, what, for IMAX, for 3D, for...
Wait, no,
what,
how much did I spend on going to the cinema a day?
Yeah, exactly.
For the
3 tickets. What was it?
For the
20,
3 tickets?
20?
20...
It's not cheap. My point is, it's not a cheap day out.
And then you buy your pop and your popcorn. That was $7.50
each.
Each, yeah.
Yeah.
So then you top that up.
It's not a cheap day out.
No, you're looking at best on 60 quid for 3 adults.
Yeah.
So for your 60 quid, you would want, you know, it's nothing. I don't want it to sound like I'm griping at the cinema chains or anything like that, because I'm not.
No.
You know what I mean? Fair enough, it's their pricing for...
Films make a lot of people very happy.
Yeah.
I have no issue with it. I just feel like when they advertise or hype a film, which is, to be fair, a remake of an earlier film, which was very good, and they say that, you know, in their hype, it's going to be an up-to-date, modern version of an older film.
Which it is.
Which it is. You've got to change with the times, and you've got to be more realistic. You can't gloss over things that are obvious mistakes. You just can't do it. I don't think. I mean,
well, no one ever does.
It's lazy.
It is lazy.
It's like
That's
when
my point.
It's like when like, you know, you're half expecting during a film someone to be firing a handgun, and then for a click, 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 everyone does that in a film.
It doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen.
Realistically,
In
it
fact,
never ever happens. Only a revolver would that happen.
We saw both of that happen. We're watching Beverly Hills Cop 3 last night.
Yeah.
There was one scene where he's firing a gun, and he runs out and it locks open, and then he's going click, 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 click. And what? You got both there. You got the right and the wrong.
But like, do you not think it's when people go out and they review films, when we review films, when the media review films, when the public review films themselves, the films that get the really, really high reviews are the ones that people have sat down before it's gone out on post-production and they've said that bit's not right, that bit's not right, that bit's not right, and they've fixed it. So, yes, okay, it's never ever going to be 100% correct, because that's just not the way it happens.
Well, it gets
the little things that people get annoyed about, they've taken out and they've smoothed over, and they really get a good review.
Think of something that like we all really like, a low-budget film, Dog Soldiers.
Yeah. But that works because they didn't have the big budget to fuck about. So the stuff when the weapon's emptied, they emptied.
Yeah, and you know, like when it's jammed, nothing happened. Try and cock it, you know, like because they say that they didn't want to make a horror movie or a werewolf movie. It was a soldier movie.
Yeah.
With werewolves in it.
Yeah.
But it's like that kind of thing where they do something where they get the basics.
Yeah, that brings us on to the point where the actors that play the apes, they had to go to an ape camp to learn to be more ape-like. Yeah. It's the same as dog soldiers. They had to do basic training.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
To understand the soldier's role.
That puts weight to my point exactly. The ones who put the effort in and they do it and go to like an ape, like it was just exactly what we said when we first started this review. Huh?
Like
you notice it, you do, or you don't notice it.
That makes the film.
Yeah, like
does.
what we're saying, the apes in the film were amazing.
Yeah.
Because they were believable.
Yeah.
And you didn't think that's a guy playing an ape. You thought that's an ape who's super intelligent.
100%. Yeah. So how difficult would it have been to have a military advisor on scene? I mean, imagine,
maybe they did.
No, they didn't. Imagine the money that they spent on that film. Honestly, on the CGI, on the presentation, on the placement, on the actors, on all of the props, all of the special effects. Imagine the money that they spent. How much more would it have really been to have a military official in, a military advisor in, to say,
you need to do that.
But if they
170 million.
It's a lot of fucking money, that. Do you know what I mean? It's a lot of money, and I know it's a film.
Do you know how many wells I could dig in Africa?
Just
saying.
But talking apes.
Give a man a fish, give he'll feed himself for a day. Give a man a net.
Give a man $170 million, he's not going to give a fuck.
Yeah, he's not going to have fish
Exactly.
anymore. But that's my point exactly. Do you know what I mean? They spend so much money on it. But then saying that, say that they did have a military advisor on scene, and they've written in the scene where it's a big action-packed adventure, fucking battle scene where they've got a tank that drives into the middle. And if the military advisor had said, mate, that wouldn't have happened, would they have really said, okay, we'll change it? I don't think so. You have to have a writer that's willing to change and willing to risk it to be correct. So you can either have one or the other. You have a correct film or an exciting film.
That goes with say, wait, look at that wouldn't happen that way. So then you rewrite it so when it fires and it explodes off, you look over, you see this tank, you go over.
Absolutely.
And take it
100%.
instead of
absolutely.
driving through. That's more realistic.
Or I mean, okay, at a position where the tank is away from the battle, the guy could quite well have been sat on top of that tank firing his M60 because it's got good range and he's got no issues. He fires the tank, he fires the cannon, turns around and there's an 8 behind him.
Yeah.
How difficult would that have been?
Exactly. Right then, so we've discussed this in length, the bad points, the good points. There's a lot of good points.
There's a few bad points.
There's
picking.
a few bad points, but they're more like plot holes.
Yeah.
Things like that. Just little things that would you go how you with the amount of money you can sort these things out properly. So we'll do ratings and come up with an overall rating for a closing statement, I think.
With mine, I think with all of the issues that I've got with it, I'd like to give it a 6, but I couldn't do that because it wouldn't do the film justice. Even with all the plot holes and the issues that I've got with it, it's a fantastic film. So I think I would probably have to go more towards a 7.5 or an 8. I really would.
Say an 8.
I was going to say 8.
I think an 8's probably unanimous then, isn't it?
Yeah, just like it's just the plot holes that let it down. I mean, I think one of our compatriots give it what 9 out of 10.
Possibly.
9 out of 10.
It could, if it wasn't for the little things that annoy me, it would be higher.
It
would be a 9.
It depends how you view films.
Yeah,
It'd be the same as my review of Transformers. You know what I mean? It's like
I mean, you could go for Transformers for mindless fun.
Yeah,
and
it's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree.
But if
you've loved Transformers, since the 80s, then
you're not going to say it's a
10
out of 10.
Yeah, you could say Michael Bay's pissing on my childhood,
which I did quite happily say. But yeah, so to sum it up, 8 out of 10 for the new Planet of the Apes.
Yeah,
it is a good show.
It's worth a watch, and if you're not me, you'll probably enjoy it a lot more.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think the bad points for me was the story was a bit weak compared to the film, and the pacing was a bit odd.
But it was. I disagree with the story because it was always going to end the same way, and they had to get to it somehow.
Yeah, I know, but I think, like I say, like the story wasn't as big or
as he expected.
Yeah,
I agree. But there's going to be another film, isn't there? There's got to be.
There's going to be another one.
But I mean, overall, I can't really complain about it because 8 out of 10. That deserves to go. That deserves for people to go to the cinema.
Yeah, it's an amazing visual.
Yeah,
I have no doubt that they'll hit that 170 million budget.
Oh,
smash it.
Well, I mean, we've just contributed to that ourselves.
Well,
I have no doubt.
When was it released?
Not long ago.
Saturday.
Saturday
in the UK.
Well, USA gross so far it's 102 million.
Yeah. So that's like 3 years.
Yeah. Well, wait.
Whatever it may be.
I think it might be a week earlier.
But even so, they'll easy hit that target.
Yeah.
Easy.
And I think we're going to leave it at that for this one because everybody has to be up early in the morning and all that kind of stuff.
I don't. I'm off work for a week.
I'm on night shift, but I do have to be
up. I have to be up at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I actually have to be up quite early because I think I have to
babysit.
Yes. Well,
should we finish off first?
Yes, we'll finish off. So
Planet of the Apes, good.
Yeah. So that's it for another week.
Next week we will have a world cinema.
Yes, we'll do some homework, watch some films, ramble on about them.
Yeah, I might even just come up with a list of directors and go through their films.
Yeah.
I've got a film.
But yeah, anyway,
watching.
We'll wrap that up.
That's going to be it. So that's it for this week. Take care.